Hey guys, how's it going? It's what are we on? Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday, February 20th, 2018. Just before 9 p.m. I decided to do a little bit something fun tonight. It was that close I was so close to actually getting into Run A and I just couldn't get to it. I was just like, no. I wish I wanted to, but I'll talk about more about that in a bit. But figure I want to have some fun here. Now, I should have done this last night. I went to bed like after 9 o'clock. I wasn't feeling that good either. But let's see here. Wow, we don't got much trains coming on. I just realized that. So going to be a lot of yapping. So I planned on running for 2 hours tonight, so the only scheduled moves are coming up. Well, it's not the busiest territory. It's Florida, so I figured it'd be nice and relaxing. Somewhat relaxing, but still challenging enough anyways. Alright. So I think I've already gone through the first half hour. Yeah, I've got my Y2A1. It's been a while since I ran this one, so I had to make sure I know what the hell I'm doing. Yeah, I already got these lined up, so I'll just go with it in a second here. I'm just waiting for the top of the hour. Oh, I guess we're here. Let's go. So, looks like I had a couple meets going. It's been a while since I've run this. It's just like, oh, we're already at 301. Okie dokie. So I started off the last cycle by the looks of it, just before I ended the day. So, anyways, what was I gonna say? Yeah, it was kind of weird. I've said about this whole Sunday thing with me. Now, we just had a long weekend. And I didn't touch anything in regards to... Now, what's this guy? Okay, he's coming down here. Oh, I got a 3-train meet. I forgot about M. Okay, that's good. I get what's happening there. 602 is going down. Oh, I see. I wanted to get 213 up. And he's working Crawford. That's what I was wondering, why he was going into the siding. I was like, why is he going into the siding so quick? I don't have anything from Baldwin coming until 5:12, which I don't have to worry about tonight. So I'm not going to fast. The other thing you can do when you're doing this is you can fast forward the time. And I mean, if this is boring, you guys, and you want to be watching this later, just speed it up. Go into your little YouTube thing, and if I don't talk fast enough or whatever, I'll sound like Mickey Mouse and just speed it up. That's what I do to a lot of, if I'm trying to get a lot of content in with a lot of videos, I just fast forward it, and then you get through it twice as quick, or you just go through the various phases that you want to go through. But this is one thing that I can run and be totally dependent upon myself to run. I don't have the track builder, or at least I do. I mean, I own track builder, but I don't have it installed on this computer. For whatever reason, I think I lost it at some point on the previous computer that I had, and I never reinstalled it again. And I have the discs someplace, but they no longer work. But I do have the passwords somewhere, because this is no longer supported. So trying to get the passwords, trying to get the territories. I mean, I even belong to something called Dispatch Central, which Yahoo in their infinite wisdom It just looks like garbage. I can't even download anything off of it anymore. It's pretty bad. And that used to be the go-to place. It was a Yahoo group, but they turned it in this Neo garbage. Have you ever heard of Neo with Yahoo? It's just horrible. But yeah, it's not fun. Okay, why is this guy waiting? Oh, okay, he's starting to move. I'm like, man, you're holding up the whole damn railroad here, buddy. So they simulate. What happens is you have random start times. Like there's random everything in here right now, but he's simulating topping off the brakes or whatever and filling the air in. Okay, so he's in he's going to be working Crawford. So he works there for 30 minutes. Now this part they don't randomize. The work schedules, what does get randomized, which is really cool, is the train times coming in and off the territory, which is really nice. So I got a passenger train coming out in a few minutes actually. Probably should have gave it. No, I've got him set to go through Central Junction once. I probably should have held off on that one, but that's okay. Hopefully I don't delay him too much. By rights, I shouldn't be dropping a signal here. It'll allow you to do it. If he was in this block and you tried to do it, it would give you a warning message, but it would still allow you to do it. Just like if I was to do this. So that's what it does. Okay. These guys move. Oh, here he comes. Now he's moving. And from the high definition screen, it's very difficult for me to see much of anything. So you got a train sitting out at Folkestone there, holding short of the crossings because of the congestion on here. I've got a triple stack going through Race Pond and beyond. And I think if you guys have never seen me do this before, I've done this plenty of times. Like as I said before, the beautiful thing about TD3, from a simulation standpoint, it is a true single-player simulation, and it does a really good job. Now you must like Dispatch. Well, you don't have to like Dispatcher, but it's a good idea. Everything's varied. It's familiar, yet it changes. Okay, so he's now come to a stop, which is fine. So I'm take one step forward, two steps back. I have a lot to learn when it comes to the wow. Sounds like it's getting busy. Oh, there's the passenger. As expected. So that's the auto train. So what do I have at why do I have it going? Oh, I guess that doesn't matter. I'm going to say something ain't right here. I just realized it. No, that's okay. No, something still is not right. He's not going into 12. Oh, I got a third. I got a third train coming in. That's why. So I got another train behind him. I was wondering. I'm looking at the way it's stacked. It looks like the next train's going to go into the yard at Savannah. I'm like, that doesn't sound right. Okay, let me just stack him up. In fact, I'll stack two. But as I was saying, this is a good single-player simulation. I ran it for years. It kept me going. It's always... I was thinking of it. I was actually thinking of it a bit on the weekend. Because what happens with me right now is because I've run my course with Run 8, or at least for the time being. I mean, I still have the rail driver in front of me. It's still plugged in. It still says RD and all that other crap. So, I mean, it's plugged in. It's ready to go at any time. Run 8 is still on my hard drive. Everything is still there. At a moment's notice, I could join a session. I could go hop on a server. I can do whatever it is that I feel like I want to do. And there's times where I'm thinking, well, yeah, you know, maybe I just need the break and I'd go run trains or whatever. But it was actually becoming very, because it didn't have the, what do you call it? It didn't have the RTS, like, I shouldn't say, don't get me wrong. I mean, the former RTS servers were pretty good. But it didn't have what we used to have back in version 1, which is somewhat my fault because I could have pushed ahead and did version 2. But at the same time, the way version 2 changed was it made it inappropriate, or it required a lot of manual labor to make it work. So it really wasn't an option anymore for me. It solved a lot of issues, version 2 did, but while solving issues, it created other issues. And it's got nothing to do with Run 8. Run 8's doing what Run 8 does. Version 2 is a tremendous improvement over version 1. But unfortunately, it changed the whole dynamic of things. And I didn't notice it as much in version 1. What kept me going in version 1 was what was going to happen in version 2, what the future was going to come. Right now, I really don't know what the future is for version 2 or version 3 or what's coming down the pipe. And yes, I have heard the statement, I don't know what's going on with those guys. I really don't. I didn't like the direction things were going. We did get a response shortly after I mentioned it, and it's really stagnant as far as I'm concerned right now. And I'm sure those guys are busy and they're doing whatever, or they're taking well-deserved time. Like I said before, I got my money out of that a while ago, so I know that's my base. I know that's what is most people come for the YouTube channels. I know when I put a subsistence video up, for example, I don't get as many views. The only reason why I don't know, the only reason I guess I still do the YouTube, it certainly isn't, I got a message today, actually, in YouTube, was saying that I'm no longer able to have monetization. I think a lot of people got that message today. If they were under 1,000 subscribers, they were trying to monetize, or they used to monetize, it's done. Now you have to get above that 1,000. So I'm not doing this part for the money, that's for sure. Because I've never made a cent off YouTube, quite frankly. Okay, so he's going to be there at 317. We're coming up to 313 now. He's got to clear this vehicle train's got to clear off. That's an automatic train going through.
Train arrived at 1 territory.
So there's the second train coming in behind him. So that's why I got a double stack going on. So he's coming right in behind, and that'll stack up once the other guy goes through. So now I see take a look at what's coming up next. So we got 315 at Y2A1, which is already lit up. That's because I cycle through. So we'll start down here at mile 618. And he's going 25 miles an hour, but I'll give him a little bit more than that. I like this because it has the mile numbers, so I can easily go in and say, well, you know, 30 minutes from now, I can get him to 588.
Train arrive at 1 territory.
Which is right here. Whoops. Another one came on territory. So we got 3 trains that are going to be stacked up. I'll give one more, but I won't do the 3rd stack just yet. I just want to get him up just in case anything else is coming out of Waycross, which I don't know. So I know these guys can probably make it up to here, past here. Other than that, I'm not sure. So there is the aforementioned train that's coming from Jacksonville, and he's well lit up. Yeah, he's 30. He doesn't have to go. He's in no danger there. He's going in down the Fitzgerald sub. He's still holding off until I can get him out of there. But what I'll do is I'll stack him out now. So that stacks him out. So we got triple stack, is that right? Sounds like there's 4 there, but I'm not sure. Whatever. We'll figure it out later. So he's going to be there till 340, which would put him... He's headed to H4? Let me double check on that. See what his work schedule is. Yeah, he's heading right, and then he goes right into H4. I can take a look at here. Yeah, he's fine. So because I got nothing else going on, I'll just go ahead and light him all the way. Let him do his work. Whoops, I gotta give this guy some more track. I'm seeing him right up here. So this is where it gets interesting. So I think about this every time I'm thinking about the AI dispatching too, because I look at how my system works and then how it would apply to AI. Of course, this would do it a lot quicker than what the human, which is me, doing. So I don't have any mileage really here. Well, I do. I have 9 miles up to here, and then I've got another 10 miles to here. So this is going to get dicey really quick. I've already screwed that one up, actually. I cancel that signal. I just realized he's going down. Makes it a lot easier. I wasn't thinking that he went down there for some reason. So he's got a 2-hour delay inside the yard. He's set to go through, so that makes my life easier there. I'm going to have him overtake just because of higher priority. Then I'll have him come behind that. He'll get through here first. So he's going into the yard Q181, and he's terminating. So pig train for Savannah, and that's it for now. So everything else should pretty much flow. That's where, you know, as a dispatcher, you go, go to the water cooler, whatever. And I don't know if this is his whole territory or exactly, what the deal is. Of course, he has other duties and stuff he has to deal with, but then that gives me 10 minutes to just basically shoot the shit. Keep an eye on things in case I missed anything, but it should be okay. So, I plan on doing this till 11 o'clock tonight. I figure why not? Just because I feel like doing it, I guess. Yeah, so, it almost felt last night, although I think I pulled a muscle in my neck, which was really making it very difficult to get into anything last night. But I became very tired. I knew I had to go to bed early because I had to get up an hour early for work today, an hour earlier than normal. But I felt that I almost felt it was kind of a depressive feeling, and I kind of been feeling this. I've suffered through depression before, and it kind of felt like it was not there. I didn't feel depressed, but I felt the I don't know. I kind of felt the feeling as if maybe, I felt like, I really want to get some of my goals accomplished, but I know I have a lot of pressure that I put on myself in regards to, like, for example, I finally got around to installing Blender. And I took a look at it, and it just, I took a look at it last night, and my brain could not handle it last night. Now, normally I can if I get into it and I do things, and I've already seen some videos on it. So I kind of looked at it and it's just like, I don't want to deal with this tonight. Learning, I might do it I actually might do it tomorrow night. We'll see. So there's Folkestone just clearing up now. So that'll light up in a second. There it goes. So now we got our third train lined up, headed for Respawn. Now, this is another thing with thinking about AI here. You've got a Q250 followed by a Q212, which the way TD3 handles things, if I right click on this, for example, it'll have a passenger intermodal freight. It only gives you 4 speeds. This is where I actually like Run 8 in how it handles its AI. Because where I like Run 8, how it does it is it deals with actual HPT values. So it deals with a little bit more of the physics. So you could have 2 trains that are following each other, and one could be a little bit more powerful than the other. Now, I thought about this too, and I thought, yeah, I could fire up Run 8 and just run in dispatcher mode. And yeah, I could. In theory, I could do a lot of that, really. I wouldn't be able to run 100% of the trains because there's going to be the ones that does the switching. I may think about that though. I seriously might think about it. At least something to keep in the back of my mind to make it kind of more, I don't know, 3D like. But we'll see about that. I'm not sure how I would want to do that, or I mean, I could probably, because don't get me wrong, I enjoy watching the trains. I do. I enjoy seeing them. I enjoy seeing the meets. I do enjoy running the trains. It's just after a while it gets, what's different now for me is now that, you know, what is it? Have your cake and eat it too. I don't know what it is, but it's to the point right now where I just really didn't feel as if it's just like there's something missing. Something's changed. It's just not the same. That's the thing that keeps on going through my mind. This to me is real. And I know there's weaknesses. See, but I can live with these weaknesses. The weaknesses in TD3 I've lived with for years. I see tremendous room for improvement in this too. Which, for whatever, you know, there's no reason why I can't program. I mean, you got a nice little meet here. You know, it's just one of those things. There's tremendous opportunity. If I could ever figure out how to do an external dispatcher, I might be really able to do some things. That to me right there can make a difference, and I really don't know what's going on with TSCAD. I keep hearing about it, but then, you know, then you don't hear nothing for months. So I certainly have the it isn't going to take much for me to do something like that. Honestly, it wouldn't. But trying to figure out how it's done and how it communicates and everything like that, it's not easy for me because it's not a concept that I have experience with. I know how to do the logic, but you know, it's one of those things. Okay, so he's coming up to the yard. He's coming up to the yard. He's going. I really didn't light him out, but that's okay. I'll light him out coming up in a minute. So we're coming up to the 3:30 mark. Like I say, I've said before, I'll do every 15 minutes, I'll do a 30-minute cycle. He's stacked behind. I'll have to give him more track in a minute. But you can really pass by a lunch. So I got nothing coming in the next half hour. So I can start up here, and we'll just start right at 499. And I generally do 60 miles an hour average. So I'll give 30 miles for each half hour. So for him, I would give a 530. So to give 530, because it falls in between here, that takes it to Ludawiski, North Ludawiski. And we're getting into the whole territory with the Florida route from that point. From the guy that's following him, he's, you know, pretty much right behind. I could run him. Like really, what I could do is I could instead of him waiting for another light. Where's the other guy coming up? See, I got to be careful by doing it. Yeah, I'm okay. I can do it. Let me delete that stack. And then what I'll do is I'll throw him down this way. So by giving him that, You see what I'm doing? That should give him enough track ahead without... Like, what happened there is, because you had that single track section and I was following him, he couldn't... Well, now he could, actually. He could have came right behind him, but now instead of just getting a clear for one, he's now got just the switch speed going through here, and then he could take off all the way down to South Ogeechee. So it makes it, you know, that more effective. Okay, so that takes care. These guys are fine. He's cleared to Baldwin. He's still working until 3:40 for another 11 minutes. Oh yeah, I gotta think about him. Oh, he was waiting for him. That's right. Okay, hold on a second here. No, he's going down. Was that the guy I was trying to light out before? Must be. Man, I got a parade going down there. Alright. Oh, I got a passenger train. That's not good. So he's supposed to be up to Savannah at 5:31. Well, not he should be able to clear Folkestone in time. So the passengers, they get a little bit more room, but 1404, 594. I'll give him up to Nahanta. And now I'm starting to see where potential meets down here will start coming into play. But as long as I give him enough for the next half hour and then adjust again in another 15, the overlap helps. He's going... See, this is where the human said, okay, you can clear him out because nothing's coming, but the human didn't account for the fact that there's another train coming. However, it's not going to matter because he'll be gone in 10 minutes, so he's okay. But that's, you know, that's kind of thing where you gotta think about those things. So 15-4, I'll give him one more to Foraker. Everybody else is just... So what do we got here? We got a 75. $75, $73, $75, $73. Okay. Just looking at the mileage here, 588, 599. Yeah, I'll do the first two. And then from there, so the tower sim, I still have a lot of interest in that. It's just going to take it's going to be a big learning curve for me to get things, you know. The mention was that I may have, you know, that I might be taking a lot on, and I can certainly appreciate that. I certainly feel that it's a lot to take on, especially considering the fact that I've got a couple things working against me. Time, Well, time in many aspects, actually. Time as in, I'm not getting any younger. I want to accomplish things. I work. So all those things are playing against me. How come this guy's stacked at least one signal that way? Oh, that's right. Okay, I brought him down. Alright, that's fine. Notice how fast he took off. He's like at 79 now, and he's just going 50, so. Alright. I forget what I was saying before, but. So how many trains we got on the territory here? We got like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Only 12. Not too busy in the middle of the night. And the cool thing is you can run these simulations and just keep on running them. Like this is at the very start, day 1 or day 0, I should say. You can keep on running it as much as you want. Now, of course, it doesn't go into south of Jacksonville, which doesn't really matter. This is the majority of your traffic, anyways. In the Florida Folkestone area, everything really heads off to Crawford and heads down towards Baldwin, the majority of which. But I was talking about the whole depressing thing, and I think that's just has a lot to do with pressure. I said about time. Make no mistake about it, I am very much motivated to try to accomplish my goals in the tower. I'm not whereas I can put run 8 down, and I really don't. I have with run 8 I have really the only thing that I have with run 8 right now is what the run 8 team brings to the table as far as I'm concerned. Or the only other thing that brings something to the table is an influx of people. And I do mean an influx. It's got to be a huge influx. A few people here and there that are eager is not enough. I've been down that road before. Trust me when I say that. I've been down that road. I need numbers. I need to know that I can count on people, not just say that they can do it. That's just not enough for me. And besides, even if they can do it, it takes a lot of effort to do the scheduling, do the admin type work in behind the scenes. That's a lot to ask for somebody who's maybe just wants to run a train, or maybe run a switcher or something like that, or just willing to participate. It's a totally different environment now, because everything got stagnated. And when things started getting stagnated, I was like, okay, well, and don't get me wrong, I mean, there's no hard feelings, but unfortunately that basically took out. And a lot of that was me too, because I had already lost my interest in Run 8, I think, a long time ago. I was losing. It was like California was just felt like a job to me, and I remember telling Mike that one time. I said, it just feels more like a job now, and it did. There was so much. There was so much added stress that was put on us, and had there been just, I'd say maybe about 6 or 12 people, and they were all concentrated on that one route, it would be something. I get a laugh out of when I see. I honestly, really, I get a laugh out of it when I see people talking about expanding. And they're all excited about it. And I'm like, and I'm not talking about the expansion as in new routes. I'm talking about the expansion of they want to see extensions to the current routes. They want to see 800, 900,000 mile sections. There's some people that are talking about, oh, it'd be great if you can connect Selkirk and Florida, or go across the country and connect. Like, come on. Yeah, you know, I mean, I guess in a fantasy world, if all you want to do is run across the country and say you did it, well, great. Maybe that's cool. But I know some of the people who, you know, especially those that work for the railroad, or those that are familiar enough with how real trains operate and how real crews. RTS was never meant to be more than somebody running a division, let alone a whole freaking, I don't know what, like 3 crew changes. And most people who work for the railroad work that one division. They may start at Terminal A, go to crew change point B, and then book the rest, come back, and go back the other way. Now, I know that sounds like a job, but there's still an art and a love for railroading, the fun parts, the less stressful parts. What had happened, for me, at least from my perspective, was that I was doing more office work, where I was doing more of I was doing more data and playing around with sheets and trying to get. It was just constantly added stress, and I was just like, this. I'm doing less running of trains. Right here, I can shoot the shit, and this is all taken care of. Everything runs the way it should. It's nothing more, it's nothing less. For many, this is kind of boring, and I can see that. And there's been times where it's just like, you do TD3 and you get a little bored of it after a while, but then you always come back to this because it works pretty damn good. It does what it's supposed to do. And I have California. I think I have 2 save files on here. I have a California one as well. F-Tower is a good one. If I can get a hold of that one, I should fire that up some night. But I think on the Sunday and the Monday I might start doing this, just because it gets me in a little bit of a better mood. And I should have done this last night, but what happens is I start getting into this whole YouTube thing. It's YouTube. You start getting sucked into it. It's as bad as watching TV. And I got rid of cable because I don't like watching TV. But yet, here I am going through YouTube after YouTube after YouTube, and by the thing you know it, the whole day's gone. And yeah, I got to go for a walk. I got to do a few other things. It was just, it was horrible. And like I said, this was a long weekend for me. So, I mean, I had the great extra time with my son. He had a karate tournament, 2 gold medals. It was fun. So we had a great weekend. Actually, we did rail fanning. I didn't even mention that part. This was the first time I actually saw a train today too from work. But no, we actually went out and rail fanned Burlington. Because this house is for sale and I've had people come in and out. So I did. We knew we had people coming in and out of here. I got people coming in and out of here. I think now it looks like it's going to get sold pretty soon. It's not like I rent here. It's who knows what's going to happen. But yeah, it looks like there's some inspections, and there's they've already had the walkthroughs with the people that are interested in the property. Now they got inspection and what is it, an assessment or whatever the heck it is to tell you what the price of the property is. But that's scheduled for tomorrow and the next day while I'm at work. So that's good. So it'll be nice to get off my plate. So what are we at now? About 44 minutes after now. So I don't think anything's coming up. Well, no, we got 4. There we go. So we got 405. Q124 is coming out of Thingamajig. What time was he supposed to come in? So I'll give him 10 minutes worth. Yeah. I'll bring him up to Callahan. So you see how that works. I just go through this the call schedule, see what's coming up. He's just passed it, so I'm not going to worry about it. Start from the bottom now. Really, you're starting from here. You're starting from Jacksonville, so Crawford's going into here. 512. That's the, yeah. Forget it. I'm just gonna stack them through. I don't have to worry about that. Okay, so he's coming off of Callahan. H4. So you can tell I'm having fun right now, which is a good thing. It's always nice to have fun. You know, there's just so much hobbies I can do in the week. And I get a little bit and tend to get my subsistence fixed with my son. I'm not that into it these days. Not as much as I was. I like doing it about once or twice a week with him, usually on the weekends. Okay, so I got that next one lit up to come in behind him. I'll bring this through Barganza one more. That should take care of them. Okay. So that's a passenger for Savannah at 5:31. Now he's going 70 miles an hour, but I might give him a little bit more then. I'll bring it to Hortense, why not? So he's going 41. I'll give him 60. 28, 38, 48. So see, I'm doing the calculations based on how he's making out. So he doesn't have to take the platform here at Jessup because this is the auto train. I'll keep him on the main. Now, these guys are going to have to meet sooner than later. And I'll bring him up to 540. Which should take him to Doctortown. I'm just wondering if...
Train stop, waiting signal.
Oh yeah? Where are you stopped? I don't even know who you are. Or why you're stopped. Really? Okay, so 600 series train. So you're a freight. You're a freight, so I don't know. Now see, in run 8, that's a possibility if you're not watching HPT carefully. Here you don't have to pay attention to HPT as you do train types. So it really doesn't matter. So just like that, that's cleared. We got Jacksonville, Callahan, Folkestone's dead at the moment. And I think the train schedule gets a little more intense. Yeah, you can see the daytime, like there's a lot more. Seems to be a lot more. That's only in one direction too, so like there's a big gap there of 2 hours. Alright, what was my train of thought now? But yeah, so time is certainly one thing that plays into things. The whole Sunday, starting a week, it's a different, it's really the job really doesn't change anything as far as going from the weekend to the week so much, other than the fact that, yeah, you're going from something where you have to be, you know, at a certain position, you're making money and everything. The job's fine. It's getting used to that you're with your son the whole time. Today was kind of cool because I saw him yesterday, and you know, what happens is, whether it be the Sunday or in our case yesterday was the Monday because of the long weekend, I had him the extra day. It's kind of, you just decompress. And then suddenly it's like, okay, well, the fun's over now. So and that's where the whole depressive feeling gets, because I end up going into a comfort zone with me, where I try to find, it's kind of not so much, you know, you have people that like comfort food or whatever. Now I really, you know, I don't do that. I mean, if anything, I'm losing weight. But I get into a comfort zone, and I find my comfort spot is usually, one, I'll try to get out for a walk, which is a good thing. There's nothing wrong with the exercise. Actually, that's one of the best things that I can do. And the weather was a little rainy. It's really mild right now, and it was rainy and everything. So, but I did find my spots. I was able to get out, and that was cool. But the real comfort zone goes when all of a sudden I get into YouTube, and I catch up on all the YouTube videos that I don't see during the weekend, because I'm with my son, so I'm not watching YouTube as much. And a lot of it's very addictive. It's kind of like, you know, or a lot of things are addictive actually. Run 8 can be addictive. Cola can be addictive. I mean, there's all kinds of things that are addictive. Video games can be addictive. Computers can be addictive. Having an online presence can be addictive. Cell phones, you name it. Fortunately, I don't have too many of those addictions to worry about, but it's yeah, so I was just like, I got a funny feeling tomorrow I'm gonna probably get into it, but I've been thinking, you know, a little bit about that. I'm thinking, as much as, you know, I want to do it, and basically, as I've said, and I know the offer's been out for assets. If I see assets and I can plug them in, I'll plug them in. I'll take a look at them. I'll see how my my frame rates work and all that other stuff. I may do up some assets in Blender if I can figure out what I'm doing. But there's a lot of stuff that I need. If anything, if I'm going to spend time on YouTube, what I should have been doing was I should have been getting into the whole watching YouTube and learning more, because there's a lot of tutorials that I had been following. The problem with that was my frame of mind wasn't into it. I wasn't into wanting to do anything as far as programming. I just wanted to be totally in my comfort zone and enjoy the videos that I wanted to enjoy. And what happens with me is, as the night gets later, if I'm watching YouTube and I'll start dozing, And it was around 9 o'clock, and I was like, you know, I'd already played around with Blender for a tiny bit and gave up on that and went back to YouTube. And then it was just like, you know, I'm already in pain because of my pulled a muscle in my neck, and I'm just like, I'm lying on the couch here and I'm just dozing. I'm like, ah, forget it, I'm going to bed. I gotta get up an hour early anyway, so I went to bed 2 hours early. Woke up at 4:30 this morning, where I'm supposed to be getting up normally at 7:15, but I had my alarm set for 6:15 because I had to get up an hour early anyways. So yeah, I end up waking up at 4:30. I had just under 8 hours sleep, so it's been a long day. But I'm not too tired yet. This has actually been enjoyable. So that's a Q200 series. I guess he's a freight too. I guess they're both freights. Oh, he's an intermodal. Yeah, see, he'll catch up to him. So he's a different type where, yeah, it doesn't matter. Too late now anyways. Nothing I can do. Okay. So we're about at the halfway point now. I'll line this up and then go take a quick little break once I check the signals here for 4 o'clock and beyond. So I've got Y2 lined up. 72. Oh, 72. See, now I got to pay attention to what's going on here. And this, like, again, this is the whole human thing, not paying attention to what is happening. I've got a light lined up for Fitzgerald for, I think it's for the next train that's coming in. Yeah, he's right behind him, so I'll let him go. I think I can bring him out. I gotta double check to see if there's not a work area for him. No, he looks fine. Okay. Sometimes there's a work area for them and you gotta kind of be careful or be weary of it. QY 124, Y2 intermodal to 73, so he's coming down. Then A1 to H4. He works Savannah. Did I miss any more that have work? Okay, so to find an area, you go up to here, find area. So he's like working at the side of the yard or whatever the hell he's doing. So I gotta remember that. A1 to H4. Well, he ain't gonna be far, that's for sure. Or he's not gonna make it too far. But oh, I see. Okay. Here. I'll light him up. Yep. So it's half hour in advance, but again, everything's okay here. Now for the fun. Vehicle train, I've got the passenger train in front of him. Traveling at 79 miles an hour, I'll give him 80. So that brings him to 577. And this is where they contradict. So at 537, and he's also going 79 miles an hour at 589. That's about 50 miles. If I give him 25, It's either going to be Hortense or Broadhurst. 22 miles to there. 22 miles for him. Savannah's at 5:31. He's doing pretty good. It doesn't list a time for him, but well, looking at what I see, he's on the approach of 5:37, 5:59, 22 to get to here. Let's keep it going. I gotta be careful of that one. He's not stopping at Winnaker. That's what I wanted to make sure about. Okay. So what I'm doing there is I'm bringing this guy in. He's going to follow him. Doctortown, he's going to go, he's going to take the siding or second track, whatever the hell you call it there, up to South Jessup and hold. Then he's going to come through. And you can see I can line up the stacks pretty good now. This keeps our 30-minute interval in play, but it also allows us to make an alteration as well. And I'm not going to bring him past South Jessup. Oops, missed it. So I can do a reverse routing. Check with him the time again so I can bring him 25 miles in, which would bring him to 6:10, which brings him past Folkestone. Where's he going again? 73. Okay. No work. Double check that. Yep, he's fine. It's just like a parade that's taking place there. Okay, I think we're okay for now. He's coming up after him. He's coming up pretty soon, but that's okay. Everything else is working okay with Baldwin. Alright. Okay, I'll be back in a minute.
Train arrived at one territory.
Alrighty. So we're just starting off 2018. Now, I already have some very attainable goals as far as my own personal life and my son getting outdoors more. I'm, for the first time in like 3 or 4 years, I think it is, I'm getting my raft out. Gonna get that ready this spring. I've already got the trip. Actually, kind of funny, I'm heading down to Folkestone. I don't know if I told you guys that. I am heading down there for March break. So I will be in Folkestone on what... I'll tell you guys where I'll be. So if you guys are in the area, I don't know if any of you guys are or not. Basically, I'm heading from Northeast Great Lakes region on... Oh, what was it now? I'm leaving Saturday night. So I'll be in Washington, Pennsylvania Saturday night. Sunday night I will be in North Carolina. I forget the name of the city, but somewhere. I got the booking, but so yeah, Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night I will not be in the Chesney caboose at Folkestone, but I will be in the little, whatever you call it, the little thing that goes with it, or whatever. I don't know what it is. It's a cheaper one. There's two of them there. There's the Chesney caboose, and then there's the little cabin. I've never actually stayed in Folkestone. I always used to stay in Brunswick, Georgia. So I will be there on... I'll be arriving the evening of the 12th and be there the whole time, all the way till probably around noon on the 13th or so before I head back north, and then back to North Carolina, Washington, Pennsylvania on the 15th, coming in back into Canada on the 16th. That is my plans for the spring break. That's only 3 weeks away. So I'm looking forward to that, let me tell you. What do we got here? I'm just looking at, see everything else going on. Oh, okay. I saw the train coming across here. I'm like, what's that? I was like, oh yeah, that's the NS line. Okay. But as far as now, I mean, I got some pretty cool news today as far as, you know, RRSPs and stuff like that. So I'm there's some stuff that came through for me at work today, which I'm happy to see. I you know, it doesn't, long term it helps, short term it doesn't, but I'm still okay with that. It gives me a little bit of a breathing room, or a little bit of less things to worry about down the road, although I still, I'll have to wait and see for a lot of different things, but definitely need to get something rolling in 2018. But that being said, there's not massive pressure on me. What I am really intrigued to do, first of all, I'm going to continue to keep on pushing forward and learning more slowly at my pace and not try to put too much pressure on me, but I am going to keep on learning either Unreal. At the very least, I will learn C. Again, I will re-educate myself into C. I will get into it. I'm also probably going to push the frontiers with just basic. I'm starting to think more alongside of the limitations that I've been warned about in the graphic card. I started thinking about that a little bit more, and what's ahead of me, and I'm thinking to myself, well, I may need something to boost my confidence first. So what I might do, originally I thought the tower would be it, because I figured, yeah, I can do that. Easier said than done, but anyways, once we start getting into assets and doing the assets the way I wanted and trying to get things to work right and all that other stuff, what I really wouldn't mind doing is doing something similar to TD3, except I really want to get a CTC simulator. I want to get a genuine CTC machine, because I know how it works. I know how to build the damn things, electronically speaking. I know how to build them. I know the OR and logic circuits. I know the whole thing. I would say I know 90% of how that is dealt with. I know how it sounds. Not to say that I've seen a real one, but I've done enough research on them. Whether it be the code line, the meters, the relays, you name it. It's something that I just really wanted to get. And it doesn't even have to have all that. Just to have the way a CTC machine works. There were some really cool simulations that I saw a while back that used to have the tower levers. And that goes even further beyond CTC. Unfortunately, I don't have enough experience of that, and trying to find a good tower simulator is very tough, because most people who have experience in those towers are few and far between. The CTC dispatchers are still around. Most of them use something similar to this. Now, this thing's been around now for I'm just trying to remember if this was done. No, it wasn't done in 2003. This thing's been around for, I would say, 3.5. I would say this has been around at least for 10 years. The whole Train Dispatcher franchise, I think, has been around since I used to read Model Railroader, if I recall. So it's been a 20-year franchise. I mean, but it was already doing... This was all... TD3 was always a computer type display like this. It was never the dispatcher panels, the CTC boards. And I really want to get something going in one of those. I think they're really cool. I always wanted to have them, the model railroads that I always belonged to. I always wanted to build one for them. And whatever happened, I never was able to get it done, because they had other plans, or they had other priorities, and eventually I would end up leaving the club. And the last time I left the Model Railroad Club was because of Run 8, actually. Well, it's two reasons. One, money, and Run 8. Now I don't do much in Run 8, which is kind of ironic. So, I don't regret it, because I'm saving money anyways, so. But, where are we at? Oh, we're at 414 now. Yes, I'm gonna run it to the top of the hour tonight. So this guy's coming out. See, got work. I think I already checked, but just to be on the safe side, no. Okay, so he should be coming out any moment. There should be a train passing by, so he'll have to wait for him. And then the 426, which I already got lit up. And I'll give him 20 miles. Oh no, he's working at Savannah. I forgot about that. For half an hour. So that's where you look into something like this. You see if his passenger train's working Savannah, but he's for 522. He'll be blocking the way, so you kind of have to. This is where you really have to do advanced planning on where things are going to go. Now, the platform's up there, so I'm okay. He's not going to be in the way, so he'll be fine. So now he's heading off the territory. He's heading down at 5:37. He's got 13 miles to go. Ooh, that didn't work out quite the way I expected. Worked out okay. I figured he'd be in the siding before he got there, but apparently not. Which is okay. Stuff like that happens. So let me keep her going. 550. I'll give it. There's an entry request. See, that's the way it should work in Run 8. When an entry request pops up on a screen, instead of just plopping you there. Now they don't all do it. In some places they don't because it's double track, and they just or they just send them. But in there, yes, we'll authorize them. And if I didn't authorize them, then I would set a different thing. I wish Run 8 would do it like that, but they don't.
Train arrived.
And there he comes. Just like that. So for whatever reason, if I had traffic against it and I said, no, I got too much stuff going on, you're going to have to hold back, then I wouldn't be able to do this. See, now he's got to clear through the siding, so he doesn't have to stop, but he just has to go down to the speed of, which isn't much. So ETA 420, ETA 422. He may have a rolling meet here. It's possible, but anyways, won't worry about him. What was I going to do? Oh yeah, I was going to bring him down for another 30. 60. 50, 40, 30, or no, sorry, going the wrong way. Go to 590. Do I have anything opposing? No, doesn't look like it. I'll take him to Winnaker. $29. I'll stack this guy in behind him.
Train stop, awaiting signal.
Okay. So I got the opposing move here, I got the other opposing move, and then boom. So he's already lit up. The stack comes to here, but then he's lit up to there. 537, 4757. Yes, I will put a 67 here. So see, you can have multiple stacks going in multiple directions, no problem. By the time he comes, by the time this meet takes place, another stack will go that way for him, so that he can keep going. I don't have to worry about him. He's okay now. This guy here, let's He's moving off the 75. I can light him up. At the same time, we're looking at about 630 to 600 Folkestone now. Just leave him. I shouldn't have even gave him any more than that. Didn't need to. So that's when you get too many signals, and then all of a sudden you have another opposing. So yeah. Oh, he's going 75 as well? Oh, okay. I didn't think I had two in a row going to 75. Okay. Fair enough. Well, I might as well give him another one. So I'll give him the double stack, and yeah, I didn't have to give him. Now that I've lit him up, I'll leave him, but you know, I'm just gonna have another. I shouldn't, but I'm a glutton for punishment. I'm gonna grab another cola. Wow. Had a count to see how many I have left till tomorrow. Go out shopping tomorrow. I shop several times in a week. Just get a few things each time. I'll check these alerts here. Yeah. Oh. Might as well grab a cereal bar while I'm at it. Who cares? One thing when I do these YouTube videos I find is my voice dries out. My throat dries out pretty quick. So is this going to be a running meet here? Oh, it looks like it did. See? I planned that pretty good, didn't I? It's just as simple as that. I get the AI, and even if it's not perfect, if the AI, I set it up that way. Now notice the signal cleared in behind him for this is for this guy. So everything is kind of stacked in both directions. And in reality, what I could do, now that I see this, I could very well go back to the whole, I'm not going to go. I already learned that I don't want to do the whole, I don't want to go through the whole process of, I don't want to go through the whole process of doing, what had happened was I was going to do it originally, I was going to do a handler. And that was something I think I started late last year or the very beginning of this year. When I found the way that the handler does things, I didn't like it. So I kind of abandoned that. But I can see doing a territory like this and making a CTC board for it. Be kind of cool. Now, despite the fact that doing a control tower is much simpler. From a dispatching point of view, like a board wise, there's a lot of signals, there's a lot of elements, there's a lot of logic here, so I don't know. But it'd be kind of cool. And who's to say I can't try to do both things? I might learn from one another, but we'll see. So it looks like South Jessup's going to work out good too, and Doctortown. But I'll have to think about that whole Run 8 thing too again. Not so much from running a server or hosting a server. Maybe, but I'll keep it in the back of my mind, put it that way. I'll have to think about it tomorrow. I'll have to think about...
Train arrived at one territory.
External dispatcher is pretty good. Thing is, if I do California, I'm not going to bother going to do too much territory, quite frankly. So that's just the way it's going to be. Okay, so he's working Savannah like I said he would be. Which means right there he'll park himself on the main for 30 minutes while he... Basically it's working, so he's working off the main, playing around in the yard type thing. Waycross is pretty busy. And these are, you know, I look at this and I think, well, this is the kind of thing, you look at the territory that stretches from North Ludowiski all the way down. It's great when you have dispatchers who want to dispatch. I like dispatching. Don't get me wrong, but I also, when you have something as good as Run 8, you want to be able to take full advantage of it. And what really got me excited about Florida, and this isn't knocking Florida, this is actually praising it, was the hump yard. When I saw that, I was just like, holy crap, I can actually run a full operation. It wasn't the, you know, 20-track yard in California, which is a shell of its former self. Now, I understand why it was built that way in the simulation, because of memory constraints back in version 1. There's still some lingering Run 8 issues when it comes to the hump yard as well, and the way it connects and explodes trains again, which I thought we got rid of that a long time ago. But anyways, exploding trains has a tendency of coming back to haunt me. And it usually gets me into trouble because I usually complain about it quite a bit. But when I saw that big yard and Jason was posting the pictures of it, I was just like, whoa, this is cool. And of course, you know, right away he warned me. He's like, you don't want to fill up the yard. I'm like, no, I don't want to fill up the yard. I just want to be able to utilize that yard, because that's what all the tracks are for. Sure, I want to get the trim in there and trim it properly, but at the same time too, what it's doing right now, you get penalized if you don't use the full track. So if you do 3/4 of a track and the strings get too long because of some bug or calculation bug, which John's aware of apparently, and he will fix the next update, I guess, whenever that comes, that will solve that kind of nuisance issue that we've had since December. So that's fine. So what are we at? 429 here? Alright. So we got 2 more cycles into the end of the night. So I got another passenger train at 5:07, but he ain't coming yet. So he's okay. Let me start down here this time. What do we got here? So he's at 617. This is where it gets confusing because it goes 602 and then it goes back up. Oh yeah, 15 miles there, and then I'll say, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. I'll give him one more. So he's been waiting since he's been waiting since 418. Holy crap. So I gave him permission to come out, but then basically he has to wait for that signal because of this guy here, Q212, going ahead of him. What kind of train is that, anyways? Coal train? It's a freight train. That don't matter. See, he's intermodal speed. Well, he's an auto train actually, but that's fine. Okay, so I got two coming up to there. They're fine. He's fine. Let's see. We got this one now. So, okay. Well, question is he going to make it through Folkestone? Which I think he is. He only has 3 more blocks to go. Yeah, I'd say he's okay. That brings it down to, he's about 576 right now. Bring it down to 616 would bring him up to bring him up to Hillard. Actually, see, in these cases, if there's nothing really going to pass each other, I'll just bring him up to Callahan, where I know it's probably safe. So that's him. What about this guy? Look at this. See, I made the pass. No issues here. That worked out good. So 543. Up to 563, which brings him to Hortense. 543 passenger speeds. He's going 50 right now, but I'll give him up to 503. And he has a stop at Savannah. Nothing's gonna conflict with him there, so I'll just bring him all the way to Forest River for now. So see, that worked out perfect. And that's the kind of thing that, unfortunately, with Run 8.2, this is another pet peeve I have, especially because I enjoy dispatching. I was having fun, you know, for a while there. I got into a groove dispatching with Mike over on his California server. And what would happen is I would run a lot of live streams, and we would both take our sides of the territory or whatever and just go ahead and dispatch. Well, that was fine until the expansion came. Because once the expansion came, suddenly I was no longer able to run needles. And you might think, well, why would you want to run needles? Needles is actually, it can be relaxing, but it can also be challenging at the same time. because it's not just running double track. There's a lot of planning that goes into double track mainline running. Especially, I mean, you don't see it so much here between Jacksonville and Birch, for example. Although it is possible if it gets busier, but you kind of get the idea, like where we started out tonight, where you had a 3-train meet going on at Hague, and you know, everything around Waycross right now bunching up. But yeah, it just how come he takes, oh yeah, these are these big long blocks of 41,000. Oh, those are the DTC sections, that's right. So he's like another 5 minutes before he can go. But he was there before him anyways, so nothing I can do about that. I forget Fitzgerald is those big, huge blocks, which is why they seem to like they're never moving, but they actually are moving. But the pet peeve is the fact that they never really, I mean, I don't know. There's somebody who, you know, for free was able to do an external dispatcher. And it was great for years. And, you know, we had, you know, I would have loved to see different features in it. Some of the features may or may not be coming out in TSCAD if it ever sees the light of day. But, and then I don't know how much it's going to cost or if it's even worth it. The only territories, well, you got TSCAD that works for, I guess it works for parts of Florida. I guess, because it never really got, I don't think they upgraded it. No, he didn't. It's not upgraded for the newer territories of Florida, so you really can't. So you kind of have nothing there. You have absolutely nothing for the Northeast. That's just, you know, I don't know. Is there? No, I don't even think there's an external dispatcher for the Northeast, if I recall. I could be wrong on that one, but. And then you got the external dispatcher that works for most of California, so it's really convoluted. And this is where, you know, I'm willing to take a shot at it. I had the time, I was willing to just get something simple. It didn't have to be too complicated, but just something that would work. And I was willing to do whatever it took, and even if it was this goofy handler, the way the handler worked, that doesn't. See, the handler isn't such an issue. The handler's fine. You just have to understand the language or how it goes. But other than that, it's not that complicated. It's just very verbose. And once you write it, you just have to write a lot of code that does a lot of logic statements. You know, a lot of if and nested if loops and stuff like that. No big deal. And that's the kind of programming I like to do anyways. I like to do the nested if nested ifs. I like to do the logic, the ands, the ors, case statements, stuff like that. So so I'm going to push different ideas or frontiers, I suppose. The only problem is when you're talking about what version 2 in the external dispatcher do, and unless you know what the DLL has or how to communicate with it, you're screwed. And I know of myself and others who have reached out to try to get information about this, and we're just, you know, nothing. I'm like, okay. You know, thanks, but no thanks type thing, but. And, you know, that's just, as they say, the Run 8 gods. So, I mean, hey, it's their product. Like I said before, I got my money's worth a long time ago, and I know I'm bitching about Run 8, but hey, why not? I can bitch. We're a fan. I've put, you know, despite the fact that I've had my money's worth, I can still bitch about it. I don't care. It's a love-hate relationship, really. I mean, I do love it. I see a lot of potential that it achieved, and I see a lot of potential that it just hasn't. And I think it has a lot to do with lack of competition, quite frankly. Yeah, you could say, oh yeah, it's because, you know, a small group and they got jobs and all this other stuff. I mean, I heard a lot of things about people going full time and, yeah, you know, hey, I make excuses all the time too, but then again, I haven't sold a dollar to anybody. All I do is have a YouTube channel where I promise things and don't deliver sometimes. So if you're still here and with me and you're sticking with me, great. If not, well, then I'm talking to myself, right? And that's okay, because this is therapeutical for me, I find now. Just getting it out of my system, getting out what I feel, getting what I think. Don't hold it in. Very therapeutical. It makes you really think about where you want to be. And I know where I want to be. It's just the question is, how can I get there the most efficient, the most fun way, yet also in a way where I can potentially set myself up for potential second income. I'm not sure what that formula is going to be yet. Obviously, having the really good graphics and, quite frankly, getting out of a niche market would probably be the optimal way of making money, at least from a development standpoint. And I do have a lot of ideas outside of this niche, believe me. The problem with that is I don't have the experience, nor do I have it. Goes back to time again. So in order to get to that point, I can see developing, you know, just slowly work a little at a time, learn, try to be more efficient with the time, where I insist on being on YouTube to just try and learn something, because it's not so hard to learn something. It's not pulling teeth. Getting through a YouTube video and learning a new concept and understanding how something works, and then maybe thinking, hey, I can try it. The other issue I have, quite frankly, is my memory. And this, unfortunately, you would think, how do I explain this from a programming standpoint? And this would only apply to people who understand how the way things were coded and how the way things are coded now. Today, they have basically object-oriented programming, or what you see is what you get. There's I forget what it is, WYS. What you see is WYSI WG. I'm not used to it. I know what it means. What you see is what you get. So in other words, what it is you have your interfaces and you see everything in front of you, and that is what you're going to get. Or you have object-oriented programming that kind of brings in what the program flow will look like, and it's kind of like a template. The original coding, though, and the coding that I learned was BASIC was the very first one, obviously, Commodore 64 BASIC to be exact. And there's one going through Folkestone now. And that was more or less to learn, well, this is interesting, how far away did he get? He's a little further than I expected. For some reason. Well, I don't know. Well, that's okay. This is where you keep an eye on things just in case. Now I know he's stopped to work, but I better get him some lights here in a minute. But I find from a person who, because there's so many methods now to do it, especially with object-oriented, there's so many methods to make things. It becomes so complicated that sometimes it gets difficult to ascertain the best way of going about doing it, if that makes sense. Okay, so Savannah 522, he comes out at 507. We'll get him to the station there. Just making sure I don't have any conflicts in the area around that time. Doesn't look like it. 72 to 21 is at 508. 7221. Okay, he comes back. 72 to 21. 72 to 21? Oh, he's going down to Savannah. Okay. I didn't know there was some local that went all the way to there. Huh. Okay. And let's see. Yeah, I'll bring him as far as there. Is it the same train? It should be. Yep. Okay, so he's around 589, let's say. I'll give him 595, 605, 615, 625. Well, that brings him to Callahan now anyways. It's the guy behind him that I have to do something with. He's going down. Yeah, I'll bring him up to Winnaker. Alright, so he's there till 512, but I will light him up to Forest River. Ooh, okay, so this is where it gets interesting. P190 531. Okay, he's going in first. He's going to have to hold Forest River. I don't think I have a... That's interesting. So you got a 522 that's coming that way, and then you got a 31, which means he has to hold at Forest River because there's no other place to hold him to hit that platform for Savannah. Kind of forgot about him. Okay, so he's okay. So he's holding. Yeah, we'll let him go for now. And we'll line up one more at the end of the night. Everything else is already lit to go. Okay. Yeah, the memory issue that I have, just if I've never gone through what the hell that's all about. I'm on medication, and that's for seizures. No, it's not for depression, even though I have been on medication, and that could be related, you never know. But no, actually, I think there's a family history, my biological side, if I'm not mistaken, too. So, but seizures are not biological. That was due to the seizures that I have. I haven't had a seizure in 3 years. I've had maybe a few, no more than 6 known seizures in my life, maybe 3 or 4. It's hard to say. I come close. I've had borderline, what I call borderline seizures, or petit demon, or whatever the hell they call it. But I'm not considered epileptic. It's kind of weird. I have epileptic-like seizures. This is actually what prevented me from getting my commercial license to become a truck driver. And I wanted it. I really was at a point in my life where this was before I got married, so I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad it didn't happen because I'm very thankful, despite the fact that my marriage failed, I'm very thankful for the fact that it led me to my son. That's everything to me. And especially now where I'm at, and I mean, I'm going through some, I'm not going through financial difficulty, but I see some financial challenges coming in about 2 years from now. Right now I'm kind of comfy, but the way the economy is and everything else, I despite what you see on Wall Street and new records and everybody thinks everything's great again, there's a lot of challenges that is coming that people don't see. So, but and I'm not pessimistic by any means. I'm an optimistic person in general. But so, how did I get on that? But anyways, I was talking about with the whole with the seizures thing, and I got on that topic. But what happens is I have epileptic-like seizures. I've had one. I'm on medication probably for the rest of my life because what happens is, in order to have just a car license, which is actually part of my career now, which I can have, as long as I am under medication and continually monitored on a yearly basis, then I can drive a vehicle. Because I have nocturnal seizures. And nocturnal seizures are seizures that only take place at night. I have no idea if I'm going to have one. I'm on enough medication right now probably to, stop a horse from having a seizure, to be quite honest. I think, yeah, they boost up my medication the last seizure I had, and then, I've never felt as if my son, he's a deep sleeper, but he says he's never observed one. The last person to observe me having a seizure was my ex-wife. At first, so apparently I had at least 2 of them that she knows of, or at least somebody else knew of. The one time I didn't want to report it because I figured I was going to lose my license. It actually happened to me once. I lost my license back when I was in high school. High school, college. See, here you go with the memory again. This is a side effect of it. I was gonna say college, but I'm gonna say high school. Pretty sure it was high school, but anyways, whatever. Yeah, I'll say high school, just because by the time I was college, I wasn't doing as good as I used to do. So, yeah, it was high school. I'll go with high school. Sounds good to me. But yeah, it was tough because I remember that because no, it wasn't high school. What am I talking about? No, it was beyond college actually. I had a seizure. I was off the medication since my son's age. Actually, no, I wasn't. Not my son's age. The hell was it? Oh, maybe it was close to his age. Grade 5, grade 6, somewhere. No, grade 8. I was taken off the medication just before I went into high school. And I did fine for a while, and then it came back, and then, eventually, back after I had graduated, I was working a data entry job, and I ended up moving to St. Catharines, where I live now. So it wasn't fun, to say the least. But I ended up losing my license for a year because I wasn't under medication at the time. So by law, you have to be either under, and I was not, basically I was taken off the medication. I wasn't being monitored. I was basically told everything was fine. When I had my first seizure, of course, I was my son's age. So, well, it wasn't fun. I ended up, I forget. There's a lot of mixed up, jumbled memories. Some things I can remember when I was 4, but the bottom line is what the medication does to you is it affects your memory. It affects, at least it does for me. It's one of the side effects. It really messes up some of the memories. Not so much. Sometimes long term, sometimes short term. It varies. It's almost as if and what happens is these programming languages, I have found that I've had more difficulty, despite the fact that I used to be it was a lot easier for me, especially back in the Commodore 64 days. I could do anything. But somewhere between high school and, because remember, I was off the medication for a while. So when I came off the medication, suddenly I was doing things a lot better, put it that way. I was able to function a lot better. And then once I was back on the medication again, it was just like, back to where I used to be. It used to be hard for me to study. That's why one of my teachers got me off the medication. He felt that it wasn't that I wasn't trying to study, it was because I couldn't retain. Couldn't retain the knowledge I was learning. So, yeah, it was fun. So that's why, from a programming standpoint, it gets a little difficult and frustrating for me because I know I've got the capability of doing it, but to actually do it sometimes it's just a little challenging. But them's my struggles. But I still have a lot of goals, and I'm thinking, just take it as stride, try to enjoy myself. I will certainly consider Run 8. I think about it. Thought about it a little bit today. I try to get a clear head and think of these things and how I want to do it. But like I said, I want to be able to do the dispatching, and if it's something like how I'm doing the whole tower thing, I'm looking out the window and basically running the tower. It's kind of that kind of atmosphere that I want to do. The problem with California, the way it is right now, it takes 3 dispatchers to do it effectively. So you really don't have time to look out anything. You don't have time to enjoy. You don't have time to jump over to see meets like we used to. It's just it's nuts. The only other way to do it is to bring the amount of traffic down. Well, the problem is when you bring the amount of traffic down, it defeats the purpose as far as I'm concerned, because it basically becomes a shell of its former self. So, and when you only do part of a railroad, you feel like you're jipping the other part of the railroad. It's kind of weird. This is why I kind of hope to see a smaller section of line somewhere, maybe, or some AI, or who knows what, maybe an interface that people can just add stuff to a file or something. Would be really cool. A lot of things. Okay, so he's coming in 508-7221. I think I've already got him set to come next. Yes. H4, A3 is at 512. Ooh, how far out? Y2A1 517. So we got a lot of different things coming out now. bring him to here. And I'll cheat a little bit once I stop the clock here. Just because I was yapping. 5:38 I don't have to worry about. So once it comes to the, there we go. Now I'll stop it. So let me run everything out. So the 507 passenger train will be there at 5:22 departure time, so he will have to come out to Forest River. He's leaving at 5:12, which probably I could be taking a risk, but just to get him out of my, I'm going to take, I'm not sure about that. I'm thinking about this here for a second. Yeah, 25 miles an hour. That's like 2 miles there. Another mile there at 25 miles an hour. That's 5 miles. It's going to take him about 10 minutes to get over there. Well, he'll make it. 40-mile-an-hour switches. Yeah, let's do it. Okay. So there's nothing I can do but hold him at Forest River. I cannot bring him down here or cross him over because this is the only platform. Baldwin coming in at 5:12, so he's got like 15 miles, which basically takes him to Crawford anyways. He's not going anywhere beyond South Ogeechee. Blah, 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 blah. So we got just past 566 going into H4. I'll bring him up to Birch. In fact, I'll bring him up to Folkestone. Now here's where things get interesting with this guy here. Oh no, he doesn't. Never mind. He's not going in down that way. So bring him all the way to Jacksonville because he's a passenger. This guy coming out of Jacksonville, 15 miles. Yeah, that should do. Give him 20 miles out of 588. Yep, that'll do for him as well. See here it says yard can accept trains now. You gotta always watch this in some of these. In some places the yard cannot accept trains now, so in some places you gotta wait and see. I forgot about that feature. So he's going beyond to 73. 608, 508, or sorry, 588. I'm going to stack him down the Fitzgerald. Okay. That would be that. I think that's it. Have I done everything? I think I have. Okay, so I'll have to do that again. That's a lot of fun, actually. Maybe Thursday. We'll see. So I'll just save the simulation as that. And place that. Cool. So now when I go in and start it off, I just go ahead and start and continue. And that's the thing I've always liked about TD3 is I can just go ahead and continue and run whenever I want. It's what appeals to a lot of single players in Run 8 as well, is they be able to go in. Just closing thoughts. I'll run this for another 10 minutes before I call it the night, because, like I said, I've been up since 4:30. But the whole multiplayer thing, and what, like I said before, and going back to Run 8, I've always enjoyed single player as much, if not more. The thing that I have found over the years, the various simulations that are out there, you either have games like like your what do you call it? Railroad Tycoons, or your tycoon type games. I mean, I was even thinking about playing Transport Fever tonight, although I don't think it live streams properly for some reason, but, or at least it doesn't on mine. But a lot of those games are very, they require so much micromanaging that they're not fun. I find anyways. So being able to just get into a position and enjoy the position of a railroad is great. Because in reality, what I'm doing here tonight, the past 2 hours, is very similar, although, you know, it's missing some of the features, and it's not a perfect simulation, but it's one of the standard bearers out there, is Train Dispatcher 3. And it doesn't have to be a complex, very complicated territory. This makes it, like I said before, this makes it a very good case scenario for potential to consider trying AI procedures on. But again, I mean, as much as I want to get it done, that's not necessarily going to help me in the long term. Or it's not going to help me in the short term. It may help me in the long term, but not right now. But it's certainly something that I'm thinking of. So, you know, I'm losing my trains of thoughts left and right here like crazy here. But for me, I mean, Microsoft Train Simulator, the issue that I always had with Microsoft Train Simulator is you could not save. You didn't have a sandbox mode. You were set to do particular activities. And it's really the same with pretty much every other train simulator that's out there, other than Run 8. Train Sim World. I mean, I know a lot of people say, oh yeah, you know, you know, if it only had a route editor or something like that. Well, or an activity editor. Honestly, I wouldn't want it to have either. Well, even if it did, it wouldn't matter to me as so much, although I suppose if it was a good activity editor that had a really smart AI system, and I really don't know how smart that AI system is, because it's a double track system, so I really don't know how good Train Sim World's AI dispatching is. If the train falls behind, or if it's at a crossover, I really don't know how it behaves. I'd be curious to see how it does. Because I know in Microsoft Train Simulator, if timing was knocked out a whack, a lot of bad things could happen, including cornfield meets, and suddenly, you know, you have a green signal, and the next thing you know, all of a sudden you're coming up on a red, and the train's sitting there looking at you. Very, very, you know, Yeah, it just total blew my mind when it would happen. But and then trying to get things. I used to run train. For those of you that have been around long enough, may have known. I some of the earliest RTS concepts was actually running Microsoft Train Simulator. What I did was I would run TD3, and I always go back to TD3 because it's a backbone that works, and I know it works. And it works, and I enjoy it. It does everything pretty much that I would expect as a dispatcher would. And what that would be able to do, like as far as, what was I saying, like Microsoft Train Simulator. Yeah. Oh, okay, sorry. I would be able to record sessions and times and record the OS times and everything. And I tried to write activities by doing this. I would actually play the train dispatcher territories, and then this would help me write realistic activities for Microsoft Train Simulator. The only thing I always had the difficult time doing, well, it was a couple things. Number one, trying to move the cars all over the damn place in the activity editor, which was a real pain. And number two, trying to get the activity editor to do exactly the way I wanted to do it. It always wanted to do it its own way. It always had its own quirkiness to it. I mean, there was tricks and there was bugs and there was all kinds of things. But anyways, that's Microsoft Train Simulator. There is not, and this is where I get back down to having real competition. Run 8 does not have competition. I'm sorry, they do not. They may think they do. Maybe they do with market share. And I'm sure they have market share competition. But as far as the features of Run 8 stands alone. I harp on Run 8 on a lot of things, but Run 8 stands alone as far as what it is capable of doing in regards to having an open sandbox, multiplayer, save your own world, continue it where you left off, just like I did in this. Come in when you want, come out when you want type thing. Run 8 is perfect for it. It works like a charm. So, for me personally, if Train Sim World was suddenly able to incorporate that sandbox, if they can't put a stupid editor, at the very least, I'm okay with Cumberland. I saw a YouTube video just last night of a drone flight over Cumberland Yard, and I was like, oh yeah, the place looks really cool. Despite the fact it's even double track, I'm like, yeah, I'd like to run through Cumberland. That'd be kind of cool. If I was able to run it and continue to run it like I run this, and have dynamic type switching and dynamic AI and everything working. The only reason why multiplayer has always fascinated me is because, for me personally, single player AI was never good enough. It was never smart enough to do the things to represent what other humans could do. But AI has come a long, long way. There's a lot more processing power now. There's a lot more powerful computers. There's a lot more memory. There's all kinds of things that has happened in the last, I don't know. How many years have I been stuck with Run 8? 6 years? Even before that, it was already starting. So there's a lot of potential out there. But right now, Run 8's got the key to... Basically, they got the key to the castle. Nobody's touching them. And I know they're trying to keep things... They're trying to keep things... And I understand why. I've in trying to keep my own little secrets as far as what I want to do, which are very hard to do because I'm very bad at keeping secrets. Being able to hold on to an idea or a concept and trying to keep it without spilling the beans and saying, hey, look at this, I got this idea. is very difficult to do. But if Train Sim World, let's say, or any of these simulators were able to really open things up, and I'm not talking about open rails capable of multiplayer. I don't think open rails really... Open rails is just piling stuff on top of stuff as far as I'm concerned from what I've seen. Maybe I'd have to take a look at it again, but then again, I don't have MSTS installed anymore and I wouldn't bother. It's an older technology. I wouldn't bother with it anymore, despite the fact that there's been a lot of good work done on it. Freight Yard Manager, wouldn't bother. Yard Duty, maybe. Depends. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're up to. But there's a lot of weaknesses in that. It's what happens is a lot of times these multiplayer things, what ends up happening is you either pay to play or you have more time than others, and because you have more time or you have more people or you have more something, they're the ones that get the benefits. And what I'm trying to do is say, no, I want everybody to have equal opportunity to whatever, but as a host and a provider and somebody who's going to put content or spend the time to do content or spend the time to put up a server or spend the time to put a paid service or whatever the hell I want to do, I want to be able to know that I've got something in the background no matter how many people, whether I have 1 or 20 or 30 or 50 people on a server at a time. I want to know that I have the same amount of experience, despite the fact that it'd be more personal because you get more humans involved. So that's kind of in a nutshell where I'm at right now. So it's frustrating sometimes, but it's, I realize I have to go through the learning experience. I have to go through all that other stuff. And until then, it was nice to do something like this and just get things out off my mind and just have a nice relaxing evening like tonight instead of just falling asleep watching useless YouTube. So at least tonight I actually enjoyed myself. Progressed this a couple more hours. I'll continue this later on. If you guys like what you see, let me know. If you want to see more, let me know. If you like it, thumbs up. If you don't, thumbs down. I don't care. I'll take either or. I don't mind the thumbs down. You guys thumbs down the videos, you don't like it, it's no big deal. I'm not trying to look to be popular here anymore. I don't care about that. I'm a long way from 1,000 YouTube and I've pretty much abandoned the idea of having any money on YouTube, quite frankly. It's just, that's not what I do YouTube for. I do YouTube for me. Like I said, it's therapeutical. I enjoy sharing. I enjoy getting ideas, sharing ideas, getting other ideas, blah, blah, blah. That's why I do it. And it's not intrusive for me. I get my emails when people make comments. I get emails. I get to communicate with them. And I'm not on Facebook anymore. That's intrusive. Facebook is an intrusive technology. I don't want to be in intrusive technologies. I want to be where I have emails from my private contacts, and if I want to get in discussion forums, I know where to find them. I have forums. That's not intrusive either. So those kind of things, I like being able to communicate, see what the pulse of the community is, see what people are thinking, see what people want, see what people have as far as ideas. Maybe I'm overlooking something. Maybe there's something that I'm missing about this whole Run 8 puzzle that would really get me back into it. But like I said, it's so much energy to focus in on Run 8 right now and to do what I was once doing when I feel that I have to create something. I have to make something. I have to be able to find that second income. I'm not looking to quit my job. I'm not looking to quit my day job. All I'm looking to do is make some extra money on the side. That's it. And no, I don't want a paper route. I want to do better than that. I can do better than make a paper route. That's why I don't really count on YouTube either, to be quite honest, because I think a paper route can do better than me doing on YouTube, quite frankly. At least in this micro niche. So, okay, that's it. Enough of my soapbox for the evening. So, I will exit this. I have already saved this, have I not? Yes, I did. Okay, had to think about that for a second. So, that's it. So maybe I'll come back on Thursday. Maybe I'll have some more tomorrow. But I still have to learn some stuff, so I don't think I'm going to be doing too much on YouTube tomorrow, to be quite honest. We'll see. Who knows? My mind might change. It always does. Have a good one. We'll talk to you later.